Is everybody logged in?
Everybody needs to log in.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please log in, if you're a member on the committee, an elected member on the committee, if you could please ensure that you're logged in. We will now call to order the Tuesday, February 18th, the year 2025, our Transportation Subcommittee for the House. Members, as you are signing in, we will now open the board to take the roll. Mr. Clerk, if you could please open the board and take the roll. All right. Mr. Clerk, could you please take the roll? Announce the roll, please.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. The chair and the clerk recognizes a quorum. We do have a calendar before us today, and we've got some housekeeping to do. We're going to take some measures on a few bills before us. Before we begin, do we have any personal orders? Seeing none, let's go through the calendar itself, and we have a few rolls to go ahead and get on the record as we're beginning the meeting. Item number 2 on our calendars, House Bill 1316, is going to be rolled for 2 weeks without objection. Item number 3 on our calendars, House Bill 810. The request also has been to roll for 2 weeks without objection. We will now go to item number 4 on our calendar, House Bill 84. The request has been to roll this bill for 1 week without objection. And item number 6 on our calendar, item number 1023 by Chairman Russell. I think the request has been to take this off notice at the time. Okay. Item number 6, House Bill 1023 by Chairman Russell will be off notice at this time without objection. We are now back to the top of our calendar, and our fearless leader is with us. We have item number 1 on the calendar, House Bill 359. You have a motion. You have a second. You're recognized, Leader Lamberth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a bill that passed last year, the year before, and unfortunately, it does have a small local fiscal note because what we're dealing with is folks that are driving without a license. So that is currently illegal. It's a C misdemeanor. This would just raise it up to a B misdemeanor, which is the exact same thing that driving on suspended or driving on revoked is currently. So it just makes everything a B misdemeanor instead of a C misdemeanor. The only thing it leaves in there as a C misdemeanor is if somebody has a driver's license and literally just leaves it behind. And I think that was item 2 that we rolled 2 weeks that talks a little bit about that on digital license and everything on potentially going that route. But because we haven't gone down that road and may or may not, that's up to this committee. If you don't have your physical license with you, that would remain a C misdemeanor as long as you have one. So this just puts everything else at a B misdemeanor. I stand ready for questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard the explanation. Do you have any questions on the bill? Question has been called. All right, I'm going to stick to the script here as we work on our new system here. Are you ready to vote? Mr. Clerk, could you please open the vote? All those in favor of voting House Bill 359, moving on to next committee, please vote aye. All those opposed, please vote no. Does any member wish to change your vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 6 ayes, 2 noes.
The bill passes. You move to full Transportation Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Thank you. Okay. We're waiting Chairman Clemens to come into the meeting. We will roll item number 5, House Bill 16, to the Hill as I pause, waiting for the door to open. Without objection, item number 5, House Bill 16, will go to the Hill. Mr. Stallwatch, you walked in. We thought you were somebody else when you walked in the door. So you have that effect on other people, I guess, as well. So thank you. We're now going to item number 7 on our calendar, and that is a bill that I'm going to be running at the request of many folks. If I could, I'll hand the gavel and the gavel over to Chairman Howell and allow him to run the committee. Get him on.
Thank you, Chairman Hawk. You are recognized on item number 7. We have a motion and a second. Please explain the bill, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. House Bill 969 has been a bill that we have been debating for several years now. 8 years, I believe. We've had an iteration of this piece of legislation that's come up and come before us over time. And I want to reference the governor's State of the State speech in particular. One of the aspects that he brought out where he is wanting to take the sales tax on sales of tires and devote them completely toward the transportation fund. I'll leave it at that. Additionally, the governor has put $1 billion non-recurring funds into the transportation budget as well. What House Bill 969 will do, it mirrors the sales tax on tires that would go toward the transportation fund, and additionally would take the sales tax on new and used vehicles in the state of Tennessee and ultimately create a recurring $1 billion that the governor has put in a non-recurring posture at the moment. So in a nutshell, what the bill does, it is sales tax from motor vehicle sales, new and used vehicle sales, as well as tire sales to go toward the transportation fund. We're working with the administration, working with our departments, and there's going to be some timing issues, some amendatory language, and working with the Department of Transportation as well on some timing issues. And I think we'll be working on those amendments as we go to full committee and even to Finance Committee, which is eventually where this bill will go to have its final conversations. But I certainly ask this committee for a favorable vote on this piece of legislation, Mr. Chairman and members.
Thank you, members. You've heard the explanation of the bill. Any questions for the sponsor? Previous question has been called. We're voting without objection on House Bill 969. Would the clerk please open the voting? Voting has been opened. Please cast your vote. Please take the vote, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes.
Thank you very much. The vote carries. Your bill goes to full transportation. Thank you very much. I'll hand you the gavel back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. We are back to item number 5 on our calendars. House Bill 16. Okay. There we go. All right.
My apologies, Mr. Chairman.
It's all right.
In another committee.
All right. We'll get to our place in line here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now to the heel of our calendar, and we will bring up item number 5, which is item 16 by Chairman Clements. Chairman Clements, you're recognized. Do we have a motion? You have a motion. You have a second. You're recognized. I think you've got some amendatory language as well, and
I do.
we'll welcome that.
I do, Mr. Chairman, and I thank you for that. The amendment that I am going to run is barcode 3653.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll notice, both, I believe we've got on the dashboard as well as on your marked calendars, amendment drafting code 003653 that the representative wishes to go forward with. Have you found that? Okay. I'll entertain a motion on that. We have a motion? We have a second. Let's go ahead and put that on the bill. All those in favor of amending House Bill 16 with drafting code amendment 003653, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed, please say no. The ayes have it. Your bill is amended, and we are on your bill as amended for your description, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. I appreciate your consideration of this. As you know, across the state of Tennessee, in both rural and urban areas, we have issues of children walking to and from their public schools. And so what this would do is create a student pedestrian protection grant fund within the general fund and be overseen and run by TDOT with their available resources. And so what we're looking to do is supplement local government's efforts to build sidewalks around our public schools. Right now, there's funds to do so if those schools are located on state highways. But as you know, many schools are located off of state highways on back roads. And we have a lot of children in rural and urban areas having to walk in the ditches or on the side of the road. And so what I've heard from various LEAs across the state is they would love to better protect their children and their students and see if we can't help them fund some sidewalk construction in and around our schools and within the neighborhoods. So that's what this fund seeks to do. You can tell there were several amendments that I had filed. The last one was the magic one because it came with no fiscal note. This committee, as it was configured last year, was gracious enough to pass this bill along, and I got, where I got stopped because of a fiscal note. So I've come up with a way to do this without a fiscal note, and then we can appropriate funds to this fund if we create it later on down the road. So that's the gist of the bill, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chairman Clemens. And I always put my fiscal note hat on whenever discussing legislation as well. It's hard for me to get beyond that, but I do realize the latest amendment has put in provision that future General Assemblies must authorize the appropriation of such funds by means of a separate joint resolution before any funds be appropriated, which is how you've gotten your way through the fiscal note aspect. So,
thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's correct. And so my aim with this piece of legislation, as I did it last year, was basically to create the account. It's basically create the bank account and TDOT can oversee it. And if we want to put money into the account and actually get this thing running, then we can do so, but it would take another action of this body.
Okay, thank you. Chairman Howell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. And Chairman Clemens, I understand you've had conversations with TDOT about this, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're deferred on this. Is that right?
Well, yes.
You recognize Chairman Clements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman, yes, that's right. I worked with them on the main language of this legislation. I don't know that they've taken a position one way or another. They seem to me to be fine with it since they pretty much drafted the non-fiscal language of this amendment.
Okay.
Chairman, and I will state for the benefit of those who can't see, there was a head nod yes from the audience. So there was a thumbs up and a head nod yes from there. Further questions or comments? I will. Representative Renaud, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Clemens, I had asked you about this before, but just for the record, I wanted to ask you this again. The Department of Transportation would be the ones that would promulgate the rules around this, but there is not a stipulation for a distance or radius around the schools that the sidewalk, this grant program would be contain how far that could go away from the school. Is that correct?
Chairman Clements.
Correct. So the way this would go down is they would submit their plans for whether it be the design phase, the construction phase, or whatever to the Tennessee Department of Transportation. The Tennessee Department of Transportation would then, through a competitive process, if there were multiple applications from various local governments, they would choose the ones that make the most sense in their discretion. And so, if there was some large, theoretically, if there was some large neighborhood that was half a mile down the road that was disconnected from the school, that might be more attractive and extend that distance. Whereas if the neighborhood is right around the school, that would be a shorter distance. So I think it would depend on the thing, but that's up to TDOT's discretion entirely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. And I will state the prior fiscal note does shed quite a bit of information on the thought process and in terms of cost as well as provisions that could go through potential of 10 projects. And I go back in time to the Safe to School initiative that came from the feds, and we did participate to a degree over the years, and I remember that. I was one of those latchkey kids growing up that walked to school, and that was me. Parents working, and was in a position where I was having to walk to and from, and I welcomed that safe environment and that road that I had to where I had a bunch of eyes watching as well as a safe walkway. So I certainly do see the value in that. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Mr. Clerk, if you could please open the vote. All those in favor of sending House Bill 16 to full Transportation Committee, please vote aye. Any of those opposed, please vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change your vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes.
House Bill 16 passes with 8 ayes. Bill moves on to full transportation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other business to come before the subcommittee? We are moved to adjourn. Thank you all very much for your attendance and your diligent work. We are adjourned.